Welcome back, families. Greetings. I hope you are well. Thank you for clicking on this video. This video, as you can tell from the title, is bigger than me, so I'm not going to react on it. And even if I want to react, I have nothing better to say about this video. I must admit. Please, families, let's watch this video together. This is the reason why all African leaders went to China and even many more. We must admit it's not only Africans that are there. The Europeans will be there as well to watch what is going on. UN officials will be there to watch and listen to what is going on. So it's not only about Africa. My reason of making this video or putting this video on this channel is for in future to check what he has said, whether it has come true or not, because we cannot afford for history to repeat itself. It sounds genuine, but you can force a horse to a riverside, but you cannot force him to drink or her to drink the water. I don't know how serious some of our leaders are sitting there, but please watch this video. We'll watch it together and I'll be back. Thank you for your time.
Pasiamaifa. Excellence. President Mohammed Ould Sheikh El Ghazouani, current Chairman of the African Union. Excellency Head of State and Government. Head of Delegation. Excellent. Mr. Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres. Excellent Sound. Chairman of the African Union Commission, Musaki Mohammed. Dear friends. Distinguished guests. Spring flowering produces anadam fruit. A bullet harvest rewards hard work. In this beautiful harvest season, I'm delighted to welcome friends old and new back to Beijing. To look forward together to friendship and cooperation between China and Africa in the new era. First of all, on behalf of the Chinese government and people, I would like to extend a warm welcome to you. The otherwise African friendship, cutting across time and space and crossing mountains and oceans, has been handed down from generation to generation. The creation of the Forum on Sino-African Cooperation in 2000 was an important milestone in the history of Sino-African relations over the past 24 years, particularly in the new era between China and its African brothers and sisters. Have moved forward hand in hand, in the spirit of sincerity, effective results, friendship and good faith. In today's world, which is undergoing transformations unseen in a century, we have worked side by side to firmly defend the legitimate rights and interests of both sides. In the face of the great wave of economic globalization, we have strengthened our capacities and developed cooperation for Chinese and Africans. In the face of natural disasters and epidemics, we fought in solidarity, writing moving stories of Sino-African friendship. Through mutual understanding and support, we have set a new example of international relations. Thanks to assiduous efforts over almost 7 decades, Sino-African relations are now in the best period in history. To open up new prospects for them, I propose to raise bilateral relations between China and all African countries with diplomatic relations with China to a strategic level. And to elevate Sino-African relations to a community with a shared future, China-Africa, for all time in the new era. Distinguished guests, modernization is an inalienable right of every country in the world. The West inflicted deep suffering on developing countries. After the end of World War II, Third World countries, such as China and African nations, successively achieved independence and development, and worked tirelessly to correct historical injustices in the modernization process. This year, the People's Republic of China celebrates its 75th anniversary. It remains to be determined, to promote on all levels, the building of a great modern socialist country and the renewal of the nation through Chinese-style modernization. Africa is experiencing a new awakening, and it is making solid progress towards the modernization objectives set out in the African Union's Agenda 2063. In our shared quest for modernization, we'll be launching modernization in the Global South and write a new chapter in the construction of a community with a shared future for humanity. We must work together to promote a modernization marked by justice and equity. The modernization of a country must not only comply with general rules, but also and above all be adapted to national conditions. China intends to strengthen these exchanges on governance experiences with Africa, support the various countries in exploring a modernization path adapted to national realities, and work to ensure equal rights and opportunities for all countries. Together, we need to promote a modernization characterized by openness and win-win. Mutually beneficial cooperation is the right way forward, in line with the fundamental and long-term interests of all countries. China intends to deepen its cooperation with Africa in areas such as industry, agriculture, infrastructure, trade and investment. Promote exemplary, high-quality cooperation within the framework of the Belt and Road Initiative, and set an example in the implementation of the Global Development Initiative. Together, we need to promote a modernization that puts the people first. Achieving free, planned human development is the ultimate goal of modernization. China must actively cooperate with Africa in areas such as human resources training, poverty reduction and employment. May our people have a greater sense of satisfaction, happiness and security in the process of modernization, and may modernization bring benefits to all our peoples. Together, we must promote a modernization marked by diversity and inclusion. Coordinated material and spiritual development is the noble ideal of modernization. China intends to intensify its human and cultural exchanges with Africa, and advocate mutual respect and inclusive coexistence between different civilizations in the modernization process, so as to further enhance the Global Civilization Initiative. We need to work together to promote ecologically sound modernization. Green development is a defining feature of modernization in the new era. China intends to support Africa in the creation of green growth engines and reducing the gap in energy accessibility, and pursue the principle of common but differentiated responsibility, with a view to jointly promoting the green, low-carbon transition worldwide. Together, we must promote modernization with peace and security. A peaceful development environment is stable and essential for modernization. China intends to accompany Africa in strengthening its capacity to preserve peace and stability through its own efforts, work to promote priority implementation in Africa of the Global Security Initiative, and promote mutual reinforcement between high-quality development and high-level security, so as to jointly safeguard peace and stability in the world. Dear friends, distinctive guests, China and Africa account for 1/3 of the world's population. Without modernizing China and Africa, global modernization is not possible. Yes, she has. Chong Van Yuan and Fate Van Cleef. Over the next 3 years, China intends to work with Africa to develop 10 partnership actions on modernization, deepen Sino-African cooperation and guide the modernization of the Global South. First, partnership action for mutual inspiration between civilizations. China will build with Africa a Sino-African platform for the exchange of experience on governance, a China-Africa Development Knowledge Network and 25 study centers on China and Africa. It will support Africa in the training of governance talent through African leadership academies, and will invite 1,000 African political party leaders to China as part of exchange programs to deepen exchanges of experience on political party building and state governance. Secondly, the partnership action for prosperous trade. China will unilaterally open up its market on its own initiative. It has decided to grant 0% tariff treatment to 100% of products exported to China by the least developed countries with which it has diplomatic relations, including 33 African countries. As the first of the world's major developing countries and economies to adopt this measure, China intends to turn the huge Chinese market into a major opportunity for Africa. It will expand market access for African agricultural products, deepen Sino-African cooperation in e-commerce and other areas, and implement a Sino-African quality enhancement program. It is ready to conclude economic partnership framework agreements with the African side for shared development, to ensure lasting trade and investment between China and Africa. Stable and predictable. Third moment, the partnership action for cooperation on industrial chains. China will work with Africa to build industrial cooperation development circles, develop the China-Africa Pilot Zone for deep economic and trade cooperation, and has launched a program to build the capacity of African SMEs. Together with Africa, it will build a center for cooperation on digital technologies and implement 20 digital development demonstration projects on the continent, so that together we can embrace the new wave of scientific and technological revolution and industrial transformation. Moment 4. Partnership for Interconnection. China to implement 30 infrastructure interconnection projects in Africa. You'll work with your African partners to build quality cooperation within the framework of the Belt and Road Initiative, and build a network of land and sea interconnections between China and Africa for coordinated development. Finally, it is ready to provide assistance for the development of the ZLECAF, and to deepen logistical and financial cooperation that can contribute to trans-regional development on the continent. Moment 5. Partnership action on development cooperation. Together with the African side, China intends to publish the joint declaration on deepening cooperation within the framework of the Global Development Initiative, and will carry out 1,000 small social welfare projects in Africa. It will bring new funds to the World Bank Group's China Partnership Facility to contribute to development in Africa. It will support the organization on the continent of the Summer Youth Olympic Games in 2026 and the African Cup of Nations in 2027, and work to ensure that the fruits of development benefit the Chinese and African people. Moment 6. Yes, the Health Partnership Action. China will work with Africa to create an alliance of Chinese and African hospitals and joint medical centers. It will send 2,000 medical professionals to Africa, and carry out 20 medical infrastructure and anti-malaria projects. Promote investment by Chinese companies in pharmaceutical production in Africa, and continue to do its utmost to help Africa fight epidemics. It will support the development of the African CDC to help African countries strengthen their public health capacity. Moment 7. China will provide Africa with emergency food aid worth 1 billion yuan RMB. Approximately $140 million will be used to build standardized agricultural demonstration zones in Africa, covering some 6,670 hectares. We will see 500 agronomists in African countries, create a China-Africa alliance for scientific and technological innovation in agriculture on the continent, and carry out 500 projects of public interest in Africa. It will encourage investment and operations by Chinese and African companies in both directions, and ensure that the added value of industries remains in Africa, and that at least 1 million jobs be created for the continent. Moment 8. Partnership action for human and cultural exchanges. China will work with Africa to thoroughly advance Africa's upcoming China-Africa Cooperation Plan on vocational training, to create an engineering institute and set up 10 workshops. A godsend. It will offer 60,000 training places, in particular for women and young Africans. Together with Africa, it will implement the project Sino-African Program, Cultural Silk Road, and a cooperation program on audiovisual innovation. The two parties agreed to organize the Sino-African Year of Human and Cultural Exchanges in 2006. A partnership for green development. China will set up 30 clean energy projects and weather early warning platforms in Africa, and will develop cooperation with the continent on the prevention, reduction and management of natural disasters, as well as biodiversity conservation. Set up a China-Africa Forum on the peaceful use of nuclear technologies, build 30 joint laboratories with Africa, and develop Sino-African cooperation on the application of satellite remote sensing and the exploration of the moon and deep space, to help realize the continent's green development. 10th moment, the partnership action for common security. China intends to establish a partnership with Africa to implement the Global Security Initiative and make it an example of cooperation. As part of this initiative, it will provide the African side with unrequited military aid worth 1 billion yuan RMB, around $140 million, and train 6,000 military professionals and 1,000 police officers for Africa. And police. It will also invite 500 young African officers to visit China. It will work with Africa to conduct joint exercises, training and patrols between Chinese and African armies, and to implement the demining action for Africa in order to jointly safeguard the safety of projects and personnel. To implement the 10 partnership actions, the Chinese government will be providing financial support to Africa over the next 3 years. 360 billion yuan RMB, about 50 billion US dollars. Including 210 billion yuan RMB, around 29 billion US dollars in credit lines, 80 billion yuan RMB, around 11 billion US dollars in various forms of aid, and at least 10 billion yuan RMB, approximately 10 billion US dollars of investment by Chinese companies in Africa. China will also encourage and support the African side's issuance of panda bonds on the Chinese market to provide strong support for Sino-African pragmatic cooperation in all fields. Dear friends, distinguished guests, last July, the third plenum of the 20th Central Committee of the Communist Party of China was held successfully. And after systematic provisions on the continuous deepening of reform on all fronts and the promotion of Chinese-style modernization, this will not only usher in deeper transformations in China, but also bring new opportunities and impulses to African countries, as well as to the joint efforts of China and Africa. Realizing modernization. An African proverb says, "A true friend is someone with whom you share the path on the road to modernization."
Thank you, families, for watching up to this stage. I'm so sorry the weather is changing the colors of the video. I hope it doesn't distract you from listening to this important speech that was given. It is important because this is the future of China and Africa. You can see a lot of different countries in there, even UN. They were there to listen to what will come out. I was surprised, but I shouldn't be surprised anyway. I put down some points just like the others are also doing. The first one is the training of governance. The second one is trading among Africa and how they will help Africa to produce a lot of things, exchange with them, which is great. Also industrialization, which Africa need as now, like hot cake, we need industrialization. If you notice, it has been mentioning the word modernization, modernization, and I've been hearing that a lot in the South nowadays. I'm thinking like, when COVID came and we are all in it together, we are fighting invisible war. That's what I was thinking. He mentioned that several times. So I think it has already started. Okay, he also mentioned interconnection, sea, transportation, railway, and all that. He mentioned Olympic game that they will play together, and he hoped to do that in Africa. He mentioned health, very important, how they will help to combat malaria. Malaria has been there for years and years. Even Bill Gates has built artificial mosquito. That artificial mosquito will, try and kill the other ones and whatsoever. So now when you are in Africa, you can see some strange mosquitoes, whether they are the one, I don't know, but they are going to work in the health center, whereby nurses will be going there to train, just like African nurses go to Cuba to train. They will be going there to train, and they will be coming to Africa as well. That's what I understand. 500 sectors for agriculture is also important. If I haven't mentioned that already, human culture, they will exchange culture as well. Energy, very important. The nuclear friendly one that they will produce. I saw a video yesterday. I'll be back next week to react on that. Very interesting, great video, and I want to share with my family. And also, security is the last one. It's supposed to be first, but it's last. I think it's intentional. They will work together in the security aspect. The video is long already. I will leave you here. I just want to refresh our mind on what he has said. And I'm grateful to put this on my channel for future references. We'll look back and see what has changed since China Africa Summit has been going on. Do our people take it serious and take the opportunity to change things or not? As you can see, I've intentionally zoom in so you can see those who are sleeping and those who are serious putting things down, those who are writing, those who are online. Thank you, my queens and kings, my VIPs, my returning families, my new ones. If this is your first time, my name is Mamri. I react on anything Africa. Thank you. God bless you all. Till anything come my way, I will see you soon.